Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Club Junkie podcast. Hopefully, having a great week. Another Thursday. You've gotten this far. You're almost to the weekend. So enjoy it. Get through these next today and tomorrow. And hopefully, you got some golf on the books. So, another good week. Kind of a wild week here. I mean, I was supposed to do my Q&A yesterday. Kind of got caught up doing a bunch of stuff at the office. And then did my podcast with Tursky for, for Two Guys Talking Golf for TG2. Which was crazy. The Shriners right now. If you're into gear and you want to see a bunch of stuff, go check out Golf WRX right now. It is crazy how much gear is out there at the Shriners right now. Like, there is so much stuff. Brand new Cleveland wedges, brand new Ping woods. There was a new TPT shaft in Jason Day. There was Duffner with new Cobra irons, new Cobra Forged CBs. I'm just trying to think of the stuff we talked about. It was a wild time. New Pro V1s. So it's just been kind of a crazy thing. So we jumped on our podcast last night, got that out of the way because he was actually still in Vegas. He hadn't gone home yet, but really crazy how much stuff was going on, which I'm super excited about. I love when this kind of launch season gets close and all these things start popping up because it means we're going to see this stuff soon. We're going to get official word on what technologies are in these things and the changes made and all that. So I'm super excited, but the Shriners it was huge. If you go into, like I said, Golf WRX, go forums.golfwrx.com and right in tour and pre-release. I think the first, it may be right there. If not, look at the very top of the page. There's a link to the Shriners and all the albums that Greg and Andrew put together. It was mind-boggling how much stuff was in there. So I was going through the other day, just checking stuff out, and there's a lot of cool and brand new stuff in there. So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. Because if you're a gear nut like I am, you're not gonna get much work done today if you take a look at that. Let's put it that way. It's going to occupy a lot of time just going through all those different albums and checking out what's out there. So very cool. It's always awesome to have Greg and Tursky out on tour because they do hit up all those pros, either pros or manufacturer reps or whatever. They get their hands on everything. They get photos and they kind of scratch our itch or feed the need for equipment news, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, there's some cool stuff. So I'm excited for 2023. Like I said, the new Ping stuff looks awesome. The G430s, the LST looks really cool. I think with the carbon fiber crown, the RTX, the Cleveland RTX 6. Tour rack wedges look really good. The new Srixon ZX7 Mark IIs look amazing. I think those are going to be absolutely monsters this year with golfers, especially Golf WRX golfers, because to me they look pretty much like a ZX7 except with less offset. Like, it almost looks like they pressed out some of the offset, especially in the long irons. The short irons look like they have almost none, and it's pretty. They're pretty special looking. I'll put it that way. Really excited to see those. Like I said, new TPT shaft from Jason Day. I know those guys have been kind of a little bit quiet. I'm wondering if, some new product here, going on a tour, all that. Maybe we'll see kind of like a little push from TPT, hopefully soon with what they're doing. I've always thought their technology is really cool, and being kind of a watch nut, the fact that they make kind of the umbrella company of TPT and that form of making carbon fiber parts gets into the watch side, and they make the cases for Richard Mille, and I mean it's pretty amazing. So, and those are 6-figure plus watches, and they're making the cases for them out of carbon fiber and quartz, and they're taking kind of a similar technology in terms of layering this carbon to make golf shafts. I think they also make like crazy sails. Or sailboats, like carbon race sailboats and crazy stuff. So technology-wise, pretty advanced, pretty wild company. So it'll be cool to see if they've got some new stuff for 2023. Duffner's new Cobra Forged CBs look awesome. They're very actually similar looking to. If you listen to that show, we talked about Ricky had the tour. The King Tours, which are kind of the player's distance iron, it looks to be. They've got what looks to be a little cavity behind, or a little slot behind the face, so it looks like they have a little more speed. Maybe a little bit bigger. They may be a replacement to the Tour MI or the King Tour MIMs that are out right now. But those look really good. They really look a lot like that. I think if you want to make a blended set, it'd be really easy to do kind of King Tours in the long irons, and then transition wherever you feel comfortable. 7, 8 iron around that is typically where it's done. You could then throw in like the CBs on the short irons, and I think you could have a pretty awesome combo set. But those things are super clean. The badging's simple. I think if you're somebody who kind of liked Cobra stuff but never really liked the aesthetics much, these new irons right now are looking really good. I've seen an image of the MB floating around online as well. I don't know who took it, but I saw an image of the MB as well, and the same thing. Really, really good looking. I mean, pretty simple. Not too much going on. It's pretty much just all silver, all chrome, and or maybe a brush chrome, but it looks really good as well. So I think Cobra's going to bring some heat next year, especially with the irons. They always bring with the driver. I think the LTDX line this year, if you haven't hit it, again, kind of doing yourself a disservice. So, but I think their woods always bring it. Irons, I think this year could be really, really good. Could be a very underrated iron, much like the woods are every year. So that's just the stuff I can remember off the top of my head. I don't have it pulled up or anything like that. I should, but a lot of great stuff out there on tour this week. Like I said, new Pro V1s are going on. So brand new Pro V1s, which is pretty cool. We don't give a ton of tech info yet. We're hearing that got maybe a slightly softer feel in the Pro V1X. And like I said, they've got a little cleaner look. I like the actual look of the label on them before, or the little Pro V1, Pro V1X with the lines. They kind of have a little alignment lines. I think they're a little more subdued this year. They kind of look like watch hands, actually. I know I put too many watch references into this opening, but they're there. So ton of cool stuff. Like I said, go to the forums and Golf WRX, check it all out. And I know I'm late getting into it, but hey, let's before the show is we get rolling too far here. Want to let you know this episode brought to you actually by the Titleist Pro V1 and Pro V1X. So listen, we all have different ability levels and goals, but one thing we share is a desire to bring our best every time we tee it up. And it all starts with choosing a golf ball you can trust. The Pro V1 is the best combination of speed, spin, and feel in the game, and the X gives you a higher ball flight and firmer feel. Both deliver long distance, consistent flight, soft feel, and an all-important drop and stop greenside control. So whether you're Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, or Nelly Korda, competing at the game's highest levels, or simply strive to be the best you can be, tee up a Pro V1 or Pro V1X, and always bring your best. So, yep, we got Pro V1s out right now. We're going to have, like I said, they got the white boxes out on tour, which is pretty cool. I was actually out playing when I played this weekend. Was this weekend? I played Friday. I played Thursday and Friday, and was playing Pro V1X. So I actually kind of found a box of 19, white box of 19 prototypes, 21 prototypes. 21 prototypes. I found a box in my desk at the office, and I was like, well, I think these need to be hit. So took them out and played those on Friday. And I tell you what, man, the X is a really good ball. I don't think it gets as much love. I mean, the Pro V1, just because of the name, kind of gets all the love, and it is a little lower flight, a little softer feel, still got great greenside control. But I'll tell you what, the X is really good. I mean, it definitely gets up in the air, especially the irons. It's just nice to hit balls that just get up in the air, hit the green, stop, done. And I hit a couple shots this week or last week that were shots that I didn't think were going to hold the green, that I hit, thought there was going to be a decent release out of the rough, stuff like that actually ended up being pretty good. So anyway, yeah, I played Thursday night. It was a weird thing because I was supposed to, I got the invite to play with some people on Thursday, and it fell through like last minute. And thankfully, my league over on Thursday nights at St. Clair Shores, a few guys were still there. So I was able to jump in, play with those guys, and I think we had 4. We're dwindling down as the weather is getting a little cooler as the season drags on. We're slowly losing a few, but I got over there. We had 4 guys, went out, played, and I only played 9. I left after 9. I think I kind of hadn't been home much last week in the evenings with just stuff going on with either work or whatever. And I took off after 9. I could have kept playing. I wasn't playing great. So I just kind of was like, you know what? Let's just take it as a sign to pack it up and head home. So that's what I did. and it was still fun. Had a good time. Like I said, played 9 on Thursday. I tried to get more in, I could have got more in, but it's getting tough. I mean, now you're getting pretty dark at 7:30 here, so there's not a whole lot. You got to get out a little early now to get out and play, or at least to get, if you're going to try to get 18 or whatever in, you got to get out a little early now. But got 9 in there, played, and then also played 18 on Friday, which was and that was an absolute beautiful day. It was sunny, excuse me, sunny, and I think it was almost 70 degrees, and it was perfect. So got out and played a decent amount. Played decent I hit the ball decent on Friday. It was kind of an outing thing, so we were actually playing a scramble, but I hit the ball pretty decent. The driver wasn't amazing, but hit some good iron shots, hit some decent wedge shots, and I think I even made a putt or two, which was kind of nice. So I was rolling the Mez Max out there, and it was just a good day. So had a lot of fun, and like I said, getting these fall golf, which is just awesome. Has always been a blast. So, gonna go out today and hopefully play as well. I don't think the weather is supposed to be bad. I think it's supposed to be pretty decent. So get out today, play a little bit as well, and I got a new wedge shafts to hit. So I'll be excited about that. Those will be out there today, and we'll talk about those next week. But I'm pretty the BGT zones, ZNEs. They look a little different. They look like the putter shafts, where you got the larger handle section, then it has a little adapter and goes down to the actual 335 taper tip. So that's steel. The upper section's carbon. It's really interesting. I've got 2 of them shafted up, and it's interesting because and I'll get into the build and stuff. The build is it builds out really well. It definitely feels interesting. It feels like just a little bit different when you're just kind of swinging it downstairs here and just messing with it, giving the waggle test, all that. It definitely has a little different feel. So I'm excited to try it and see what it's all about. So today, get into what do we got today? I got 2 things, and one of them, or the first one, is something that I think a lot of you are probably interested in, and that is the Takomo Iron 301 combo set. So a few weeks ago, maybe a month, whatever it might be, I talked about the Takomo Iron 101T. And the 101T is a hollow body, multi-piece kind of player's distance iron. It's pretty short heel to toe, doesn't have a ton of offset. Really good looking head from address. I think it's very comparable personally to me to the P770. I did actually a little shootout. I think, was that last week? Maybe that was last week, but I also did a little shootout between P770, PXG 0311Ts, and the Takomo 101T. And it was interesting because they were really all really close in terms of distance and spin and launch and all that. I think the 101T actually flew the flattest out of all of them. But really good iron. They feel good. They sound good. They're just overall a really solid iron for $650 or something like that, with an actual KBS shaft and all that. So talked about that, and if you don't know or didn't hear that show, Takomo is a Finnish, I believe it's Finnish, don't get me wrong, I know that's around there, but a Finnish direct-to-consumer brand, and they're right now making a couple different irons. They've got the 101, which is kind of their game improvement iron. It's multi-piece, hollow body, has a little bit of offset, a little thicker top line, a little longer heel to toe. And then they go to the 101T, which is a the kind of like I said, kind of a P770 type iron, but player's distance iron. I would put it in there, but something like that. Then they go down to the 201, which is a forged. I kind of look at it as kind of like a Titleist a T100S. It's a forged iron with kind of like a cavity milled into the back, so the face is a little thinner. You get a little more speed, a little more distance on those. I haven't hit those yet, the 201, but there are some people in the Golf 3X forums who have. Excuse me, and they've gotten some really good reviews. But they got a little slot in the cavity that should add a little speed, add a little distance. But it's a kind of a one-piece forged iron. Looks really good, and then they get into the 301CB, 301MB, and you can combo them up. So the 301CB is, like I said, a cavity back. It is a very shallow cavity back. I will say that. Cavity back is kind of I say a little bit of a loose term there, but absolutely beautiful. Really milled well, finished well. Everything about them looks really good. Like I said, the CB portion of it, in terms of having a lot of perimeter weighting and all that, there's probably not a ton there. It's a pretty shallow cavity. It's like I said, got pretty minimal offset. There's not a ton of that. The soles are somewhat narrow. I wouldn't call them crazy narrow, but they're decently narrow. I mean, a good player who's looking to work the ball should like them. And they got a nice little bevel on the leading edge there to help with stopping these things from dig too much. So overall, a really nice looking iron. Like I said, the milling in the back cavity is really, really nice. I mean, these things here for $650, it's tough to argue that these aren't a good value, because they're forged out of stainless steel. So S20C stainless steel. I'm not a metal guy, so I don't know what that necessarily means. But they are forged, so they should be. So they are soft. I mean, they should be. They are soft. But they overall a little bigger size than I think than I was expecting initially. I was expecting something super compact, super small, and these have a little bit of size to them, but not without the proportion. They have, like I said, a little thicker top line than I think I expected, a little larger than I expected, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that actually, kind of for a guy like me, who this is probably on the fringe of where I'm playing my iron sets, that's probably a good thing, because it gives me a little more real estate to hit the ball, gives me a little more confidence, to that shots that I may miss off center will still go better than a traditional really small compact CB or blade. But overall, like a really nice brushed finish, sandblasted groove section, and then the milling on the back, in the back, as we call it, cavity, looks really good. So Tacomo's done a nice job here. And if you go the combo route, which I did, you will go 4 through 7 iron in the cavity backs, and then 8 through pitching wedge in the MBs. And the MBs, same thing. I mean, they're a traditional looking muscle back. They have a little milling in the back where the kind of bottom meat of the muscle kind of meets the top. They've got a nice little milling there, and they're super clean. I mean, they just say 301 MB, and they have the little Takomo logo out on the toe, and that is it. So if you're somebody who is very traditional in terms of what you like to look at, I think you will enjoy the aesthetics of these, and they will look very good in your bag. So a good set. They blend perfectly together. If you're somebody who, like I said, I was going the combo route, and if you're somebody who is looking to do the same or whatever, they definitely combo up perfectly. Like you almost, from a dress, you almost don't even notice where the CB ends and the MB begins. Again, a little bigger for a blade, a little on the larger side, in terms of overall size. Again, pretty proportionate. Like, it's not like one of those irons that's super long heel to toe and it's really shallow, like really shallow face. It's not as tall. This it's got some height. It's got a decent amount of heel to toe length. And like I said, overall, it looks really good. Again, the top line is going to be just a hair thicker. We're not talking Cobra Rev 33 thin, but they're also not, they're not super thick. I think they're pretty much on the average side. And overall, I think Tacomo did a really good job in terms of looks. The quality of them seems to be really good. Like I said, you got some nice milling marks where they milled out part of the cavities. So overall, I think they put a lot of time and effort into these. They're not just, I think a lot of people, when they think of some of direct-to-consumer stuff, they automatically think they're going to be cheap. They're mass producing millions of them, and they just don't care, and there's going to be fit finish issues, whatever. These things look pretty darn good to me. I was pretty impressed with how they looked. I've only got 27 plus holes on them, so in terms of wear and all that, so far they're pretty good. They've got a couple little bag chatter marks and all that, but they are a soft forged steel, so anytime you've got a soft forging like that, you're going to get a little bag chatter in there as you play with them. So through 27 holes, I've got a couple little ones on the sole there. Nothing that stands out or anything like that, but a couple little ones here and there on some of the sharper edges. You'll get a few of those. but for the most part, pretty minimal. Face wear is also pretty minimal as well. I mean, there's a few marks where hitting maybe a sandier ball or something like that off the fairway or rough has left a little bit of a mark, but again, for the most part, very minimal wear. I mean, these would, I mean, you can definitely tell they're used, but you're basically a slight step above shop wear after 27 holes. So far, I've stood up really well in terms of the looks. Like I said, the chroming of them is really nice, and again, very simple on the back. If you're somebody who, the back of the club matters a lot to you as it sits in the bag, and you want something that looks very simple, very clean, these are definitely fit the bill. So, got these bad boys in. These ones here are actually with some KBS Tour. So KBS Tour 120s, stiff flex, and again, same lambkin crossline grip that I had on the 101Ts. So the 101T did have the KBS Tour Light, that new shaft. These ones KBS Tours, and like I said, you're getting a brand name grip, a lambkin crossline grip, an actual KBS Tour shaft or KBS Tour Light, and a forged stainless cavity back and MB blade for $650 plus shipping, plus tax and shipping. But I mean, that price is kind of crazy. You can actually order these, I believe. You can order them head only as well. So if you got a set of shafts at home, you want these head only, you can get them for $500. So that's a pretty darn good deal. They are interesting enough. I mean, usually most forged blades, stuff like that, are 355 taper tip. The heads are 370, or the hosels are 370 on these. So in terms of if you have shafts laying around, you want to do your own head only, you're either going to have to buy a set of 370 parallel shafts, or you're going to have to shim out some taper tips to get these going. But that's, not a huge deal. If you're building your own clubs, that's not a big deal, but something to be aware of if you're thinking about going the head only route. But yeah, so anyway, got these things in, and the first thing pulling them out, I was just like, wow, they look really good. They have not a crazy amount of bounce when you take a look at them. They don't have a crazy amount of bounce, but they do have that beveled kind of like that pre-worn leading edge. That definitely actually does help with turf interaction. I thought the turf interaction on these was really good. We're not crazy soft up here at the moment. We haven't got a ton of rain. We got some rain about a week ago, or maybe a little bit before that, but it wasn't crazy. It was just, we got some rain. It didn't flood anything or anything like that. So stuff was pretty standard in terms of how soft it is. If I got really steep, I could take a pretty meaty divot, but for the most part, turf interaction with these was really good. I think if it got super rainy, super soft, I'd have to be a little wary of kind of how deep I would get going. But in terms of normal conditions here in Michigan, we are pretty good here with the turf interaction. That leading edge definitely helped get the club out of the turf pretty easily. I mean, it entered pretty quick, but it got out fairly decent. The divots there were probably just a little bit larger than I've seen with say these 101Ts. Or my P770, stuff like that, that's got a little thicker sole. So these were a little bit dug a little bit more. Kind of expect that with blades and some CBs, because they have narrower soles. They don't have as much bounce, a lot of them. But the feel of them, like I said, turf interaction, really good, and especially actually out of the rough too. I mean, they got through the rough really easily. I mean, any ball that was sitting down, sometimes you kind of look at certain lies that are kind of hairy and the ball's sitting down, and you kind of got to take off a few yards, just because the club's going to slow down as it gets there. I was actually hitting basically the same distances, that I'd hit off the fairway with these out of the rough. Like, these things got through the rough really well. I think that kind of slightly sharper leading edge would kind of get down and under the ball really easily, and I hit some really good shots out of the rough that I didn't expect to hit. Feel on these is good. They're definitely soft. Now, will I say they are like Miura soft? No, they've got a little firmer feel to that. I think the biggest difference is being stainless steel forged as opposed to, say, carbon steel. But these here are pretty darn soft. I mean, when you hit them in the center, they definitely have good feel, good responsiveness. They may have just a touch firmer feel or a hair more click than some of the softest blades or cavity backs out there. nothing that actually I hit and was like, ugh, or anything like that I was that I didn't like, or anything that kind of was really offensive. There was nothing like that. They still have really good feel. They're very responsive in terms of when you hit them in the center, you get that thud, that good solid thud. You get a touch of audible click, a little bit depending on the ball. The softer the ball, of course, you're going to get a little less of that. But like I said, playing Pro V1, which is a little firmer ball, there definitely is a little click at impact, which some people like too. I mean, some people look at that as something that they use to determine how well they hit the ball, and they use it as kind of feedback on where they're hitting it on the club face, which you definitely get here. Now, when you do miss it, it does get a little firmer. You get a little more audible sound out of it, which from most irons you do. This one here definitely lets you know if you missed it. Like, you get a little feel of a little bit more vibration runs kind of up the club into your hands. But like I said, center strikes are really solid and have a good feel to them. So if you're somebody who again, you're looking for a nice forged iron, forged cavity back or forged MB, and you're looking to save a little money, these things, I mean, it's pretty tough not to argue it. But like I said, the feel of them is really good. Like I said, center strikes are really, really solid. Distance-wise is good. These things play off pretty traditional specs. I thought I had them up here for a second, and I guess I don't. Really? I thought I had them up here. No, well. Maybe I pulled them up in the wrong spot. Here we go. So, like the pitching wedge here plays off basically a 47-degree pitching wedge for the MBs, which is pretty traditional when it comes to MBs. It's going to be a little weaker lofting. The only clubs that I really noticed, and the same thing with the CBs, they basically play with a 47 pitch, 34 7-iron, and 23-degree 4-iron. So a little, excuse me, a little weaker, kind of similar to what I was playing with the PXGs that I reviewed a few weeks ago, but a little weaker loft. I didn't really notice a huge difference in distance, again, with these compared to the, what my traditional sets that are playing 45 pitching wedge. Didn't really notice a huge difference in distance until I got down to like the 9 pitch, which those, on me, I don't really hit 9 pitching wedge, gap wedge really far. I don't know if it's something that I just don't swing it as hard or what. Maybe I kind of decelerate going into the ball, whatever it is. Those irons for me are always kind of a little bit on the shorter side. So if there's like, a 10-yard gap between, 6 and 7 iron, 7 and 8 iron, I may get like a 12, 13-yard gap between 8 and 9. Where 8 irons my 150 club, with some player distance stuff, it's 155. With these, it basically was 150, and then, the 9-iron would kind of drop off a little under 140. 140 it would take me a lot to get there at 140, but again, that's my game. That's whether it's, these Takomo 301s, whether it's, another set of blades or whatever it is. I've always had that kind of issue, and it's just something that, I just must not hit those short irons really hard or really fast or whatever it is. But distance-wise was still pretty good. One of the shots stands out. It actually was, funny enough, 9-iron. I think we had one at 140, 141 or something like that out of the rough into a pin, and I hit it, and I definitely hit it a little bit off the toe, and I just was like, oh, that's coming up short. And I hit it to like 2 feet, which was absolutely shocking. Now, it could have been a little bit of a little grasp on the ball, a little bit of a flyer, but overall, it was amazing how that ball got to that green. Because between one, it being a lot for a 9-iron for me, and 2, out of the rough, I just didn't think it would get there, and I hit it to 2 feet, and I hit it a little off the toe. So there is a little bit of forgiveness to those MBs if you do strike it off the toe a little bit. But overall, the flight on these, pretty mid-flight. I would call it mid-flight, not crazy high. Definitely the 101Ts fly higher. For me, I think my T100s fly a little higher than these. But these are I call it pretty much a mid-flight. Now, they're still easy to get up in the air, and I think most players are playing these are going to generate enough speed with their irons that, trajectory is not going to be a big thing. In terms of trajectory, they're going to be looking more, but can you flight it down? Can you hit it high? Can you do all these things? Like I said, really mid-ball when you're just hitting it. And again, with a KBS tour, it's kind of a mid-flight shaft. Spin is really solid. Hitting balls either off the tee into par 3s, off the fairway, anything like that. was pretty much, it had a really steep descent angle, and balls just kind of stopped. There was very little release on pretty much any shot from 7-iron down. Now for me, I mean, we get into the 6, 5, and 4-iron. I don't hit those very high anyway, so for me, those come in a little flatter. And, those are going to get a little more release for me no matter what, just because I don't hit them super high. Now, other players are going to hit these things higher, and they're probably going to see a little more stopping power out of it. But for me, like I said, anything from 7-iron down for the most part was pretty much it hit the green and stopped, and that was it. Maybe a couple feet of release, but very little. Even out of the rough, you were able to stop the ball pretty well, and it was nothing there that I hit that like I said, out of the rough or anything like that, hit and released a ton. So they definitely have some decent stopping power, and part of it too, getting that thing up in the air, having a steep descent angle also helps with that. But like I said, really easy to get off up in the air. Definitely easy to fly, to work them. I mean, you can definitely go out there, hit draws, hit fades. The stuff is pretty easy to hit, and I will say they're easy to work because they are a little more demanding. Even for being a CB, it's a pretty shallow CB. And if you think these are going to be crazy forgiving, or you're that like 15, 16 handicap that hits irons decent and wants to play, you may be able to get away with it. For me personally, I think these are at the very edge of my kind of level of being able to play even the full combo set all the time. I think I'm just more of a 101T guy, maybe a 201 guy. I need a little more speed. I need a little more forgiveness than these give. But in terms of precision, they're pretty darn good. I mean, when you hit it solid, you're going to know a distance. You're not going to catch a flyer or a hot spot type shot where you catch it a little off the toe and it goes 10 yards further or anything like that. You're not going to get that out of these one-piece, forged CBs or MPs. But overall, the performance of them really good. Like I said, the flight, more mid-flight, and then forgiveness-wise, they're decent. Again, you're talking about a blade, and you're talking about a CB that, for the most part, is a blade. I mean, it's got a little mass, probably a little bit lower and all that, but for the most part, it's a blade. When you miss it, you're going to notice some distance loss. You're just going to, and that's with any type of iron in this category. It's not really meant for a lot of shots missed really far off the toe or really in the heel or super low on the face. Those shots, though, are going to come up short of your target more than likely. Unless you get, an interesting lie or whatever, like I did with that 1-9 iron that went in and hit it 2 feet. I think there was probably a little grasp on the ball that got it there. But for the most part, when you hit it flush, you're getting exactly the distance you're going to get. You're going to have good distance control. And, if you're hitting your 7-iron 160 and you hit a good 7-iron shot, it's going to go 160. When you miss it off the toe or miss it off the heel or low on the face or anything like that, it's going to come up short of that. And I had a couple shots that, I just put a bad swing on them. And my bad swing lately has been hitting it kind of low toe. I've got an early extension. I come up out of the swing and I hit it low toe. And those shots, unfortunately, come up short of the green. Had at St. Clair Shores playing 7. 7's like about almost 170 yard par 3. It's got a big bunker on the right, bunker on the whole left side, but the right front has got a big bunker. And I walked up and hit it basically low toe, a couple grooves low and off the toe. And the ball flight, the ball still got up in the air. It looked really good. It had a little, it actually had a little fade on it from, I guess, the way I hit it, even though typically toe shots have a little draw, but had a little fade and basically fell short into the upslope of the green. And I just didn't get it there with that 6-iron because I totally missed it. Now, the 101T, stuff like that, I might have got it on the front of the green. It might have carried enough to get it on the front of the green because there is that thinner face, a little more speed, all that. These are precision tools, man. These are tools for really good players who are going to hit close to the center of the face very, very often. And if you're going to miss it, down here, kind of, out where the grooves are starting to end and getting to and flirting with that edge of the face, you're going to have shots that are going to come up substantially short. I mean, that's a 10-yard loss. But again, I'm not blaming the irons or anything like that. It was a bad swing on a set of irons that isn't built, for that. They're built for players who are going to strike the ball well. So, if you're thinking that, because it says combo set and the CB are, like all the CBs are going to be crazy, crazy forgiving, and I can hit it all over the face and they're going to go forever. These are a little more demanding than that. You are definitely going to have to be a little more solid, a little more consistent of an iron player in order to, I think, really get the full use out of these. But if you're that, single digit and you hit iron solid and all that, like, these are probably going to be great irons. Like I said, good feel, a phenomenal price, but the shaping and all that is really good. The quality of them, the look, everything about them is super, super nice. But overall, like I said, they're really great for that player who's looking for, a blade or a cavity back to really, to hit the shots they want to hit, whether it's working, draws and fades or hitting it high and low. All those things are at your disposal with these, where, but if you're looking for distance and forgiveness and that's your biggest thing, the 301 MB or CB is probably not where you want to necessarily be. But like I said, if you're a player who's really looking to replace an older set of blades or CBs, and you're looking for something that is going to give you the ability to hit the shots you want to hit and give you that good responsive feel, these things are probably worth looking at, especially at $650 for a set of them. I mean, it's pretty tough to argue that side of it. But overall, I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun playing these. I wish I would have brought like a slightly better game in terms of playing them to the course, but the MBs and the CBs were really good. I mean, the difference too between say the MBs and the CBs, again, I mean, I didn't have the exact same irons. They flew pretty similar. The MBs, in terms of flying a little flatter or anything like that, I didn't notice a big difference in flight. They pretty much flew, for the most part, the same. The MBs probably had a slightly more solid feel when you hit them in the center. Hit a few really good shots with this 8-iron here, and when you hit these there, they might have been just a slight bit more solid, but the flight-wise, I think they were pretty similar in terms of both being pretty much mid-flight and having a good amount of spin to them. So either one, I think you're going to be pretty happy with. In terms of size, they're pretty much the same size. There's not a huge difference between the CB and the MB in the set. Now, again, I'm not comparing 7-irons to 7-irons or anything like that, but when you put up kind of the 8-iron next to the 7-iron and kind of look at the progression, they're pretty much very similar in terms of size. So, but again, I think that's part of the great thing about this set is that you can kind of blend it. Now, unfortunately, for $650, it doesn't allow you to blend where you want, so you aren't able to order, I don't think you're able to order like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the CB and then order 9 in pitching wedge in just the blade or something like that, or maybe basically just order 4 and 5 in the CB and then the rest in blades. I don't think you're going to be able to do a total custom order like that. But like I said, the CB I thought was a pretty good setup. 4 through 7 in the CBs and then MBs 8 through pitch. To me, I think that's a pretty good setup. I think most players are going to agree with needing a little more forgiveness out of those longer irons starting with the 7. I think that's not a bad idea. But overall, just a really solid set of irons. And, if you're somebody looking for, if you're a good player, a single digit or really a skilled player looking for a set of tools to kind of help you hit shots that you need to hit and work the ball the way you want to, and you don't want to, melt the wallet, I think these things are definitely worth looking at. So if you go to TakomoGolf.com, check out the 301 MB, 301 CB, the 301 combo. You kind of take a look at all those, and overall, just really happy about playing these. Like I said, I think for me, I'm more of a 101 T guy, but I totally get that there are far better players than myself who will really, really enjoy these and really find a really solid game with them. So, like I said, TakomoGolf.com. Check out the 301 MB, 301 CB, and see how they may find a way into your bag. So, appreciate Takomo sending those over, and had a lot of fun playing them. So I wish I was a little better because they're really good. I like I said, I need a little more help. So 101T is more my jam. But Anyway, so that was Takomo irons. Like I said, really, those guys are kind of doing some cool stuff. It's been exciting to hit a lot of their product, and I've been very appreciative that they've sent over a couple sets of irons for me to try and all that, because it's been a lot of fun hitting these things and getting a little more familiar with some of these direct to consumer brands that are becoming more and more popular as golf goes on, and younger people who are used to buying all their stuff off Amazon can now buy golf irons right online, just like they'd buy toilet paper or a new shirt or whatever young people buy. So that's the Tacomo irons, and then the second thing I'll get into a little bit is a shaft that I've been playing a little bit and got fitted to. So the brand new Project X Hazardous Black Gen 4. So the Hazardous Black was a shaft that I was a big fan of when it first came out. I was lucky enough to be on a Golf WRX kind of True Temper test panel that they did for a while, and I got a Hazardous Black handcrafted pretty much right out of the gate, and then also got to test the yellow, the red. So I was big into the Hazardous family when it first came out, and played a good amount of their shafts. Of recent, I've played fewer of them, just because I haven't got my hands on a lot of them, and it's getting out to to play them, or going to like a shop to go bother somebody to go play them. I'm just not going to do that, and I'm not going to drive 45 minutes to go to like Carl's Golfland, which is like the biggest shop around, and go bother the boys over there to hand me a bunch of shafts and whatever to go hit. I can't do it. So I haven't hit as many of the brand new Hazardous stuff or even flow stuff yet, but I did get the 4th gen. I got fitted to this basically when I wanted to title this for TPI, and I hit a bunch of different things, but I've played it a little bit since as well. I've got it on the course, and the Hazardous line has always been, at least when the first one came out, is one of those where it didn't necessarily feel the best, but it worked. And the original Hazardous Black was pretty low launch, pretty low spin, and it had a little vibration to it, but it worked. It was consistent, and it did everything that it needed to do, which was pretty nice. Now the Gen 4 Hazardous Black definitely has improved on feel. Personally, I think the RDX line improved a good amount with smoke. The smoke line kind of improved feel, but I thought the smoke line played a little soft. And then they brought out the RDX, like RDX Black, RDX Blue, and I thought those included, kind of were a good combination of little stouter feel. They performed really well, and they also had definitely a smoother feel than the original Hazardous products. So those are a big improvement, and now we have Gen 4. And Gen 4, the first thing I noticed swinging it was it definitely has a smoother feel than the original Hazardous Black handcrafted that I remembered so dearly long ago, and I actually had it in a Cobra LTD head, the old orange and black one. Was what I was rocking that in. But this one here definitely has a smoother feel. Not near as much vibration goes through the shaft into the hands. It definitely through the swing doesn't have, like I said, as kind of a harsh feel through there. And honestly, it has kind of that more stout feel that the original Black and the RDX personally I thought have. They don't kind of play as soft as just like the Smoke Black. I think they definitely have a little less activity to them. They're a little more, I want to say a boardy, but I don't want to say that in a negative way, because it definitely is a little more stout feel. But when people say boardy, I think they automatically think boardy and have a ton of vibration and all this stuff. And it's overall a shaft that just has less activity to it. It just doesn't have as much activity through the swing. And the nice thing is it's built for kind of a fast tempo player, and that is exactly who I am. So it's got a stiffer handle section. It's got a really stiff tip section. It utilizes their new kind of dual torsional design, which is supposed to improve stability and consistency in the shaft. But they mark it on the site as low trajectory, low spin. I don't think it's that crazy low. Personally, I think it's kind of like a mid-low launch shaft. It's still pretty low spin. But I think it's more of kind of, for me at least, it worked out to be more of a kind of a mid-low launching shaft. I would kind of put it in the arena of kind of like a TR Blue, something like that, a Fujiko TR Blue. or maybe maybe well, CK Pro Blue probably goes a little lower than that. But like I said, a Ventus TR Blue is probably the thing in terms of launch I would kind of put it close to. Kind of mid-low launch. It is definitely, like I said, the stouter profile, which I like. I mean, for my tempo, there definitely was some, I definitely noticed some consistency that was there with this shaft. It was something that, even though it's a little stouter feel, you can still kind of feel it load. It still has a little kick and impact. Nothing like, say, the Even Flow line or some of the little higher launching active, tip section shafts. It definitely isn't anything that active, but for a kind of a lower launching, lower spinning shaft, it definitely has a little bit of kick to it. You can feel it release, but it's still not super easy to turn over. I mean, you can hit it left. I mean, I can hit anything left. I could hit a shaft with zero flex left with my swing, but it does kind of help take away a little bit of that left with that profile. Like I said, the spin on it is pretty low. And my TSR head, I think I was, we were trying to almost get spin up a little bit on that, but I'm kind of in that mid, 2500, 2600 range with this, whereas stuff like a little bit, some of the higher launching shafts like the Graphic Design IZ, I was almost, closer to the 3000 range. It was probably like 2700 to 2900. So a little higher spinning, a little lower spinning than that. Definitely offers a very flat ball flight. For me, it's a little easier to launch. I'm still able to get the thing in the air. Flies really flat, very boring when you hit it well, and very consistent. I found a lot of kind of poor swings or mishits that went much straighter than I thought they would. Like I said, Chad, somewhat harder to turn over than some other shafts out there. I think just that overall stiff profile of it just stops it from wanting to either go left or anything like that. Overall, I think it's a big improvement over the original handcrafted black. If you look at that shaft to here, I think you have added consistency, much better feel. It's smoother. It's just everything about it is just a little bit improved over there. The interesting thing is too is like I never really got if you hit one kind of low heel and you kind of leave the face open a little bit and you have that big kind of high spinny cut that you hit. It was really not that bad with this shaft. I mean, it still went up, it still went a little bit right, but it didn't kind of just like straight in the air, balloon up, and fall down out of the sky in the rough. It definitely kept some of that boring trajectory. And part of that, I think, is, maybe just the fit between driver and shaft and keeping that spin low. But spin, on that shot stayed, it actually, stayed online better and didn't kind of rise up into the air like a lot of shots that I've hit that have done that. Because, as a guy who kind of, gets over the top and shuts the face and hits it left, every once in a while when you're trying to avoid that, you basically just stop everything and you hit it dead right. And like I said, this shaft here, it kind of kept those things online a little better and didn't get crazy high in terms of launch and spin. But well-struck shots that or swings that were really good. You could feel that there was some power with this thing. I mean, that was what you never really got with the original Ventus Black, was you never got too many shots that you felt like the shaft was really like adding distance for you. And I feel like this shaft here, it kind of does help. It's got a little kick to it. It's a little more active, and I think it helps keep the ball speed up. Oops, sorry. Just knocking shafts into microphones. But I think it does help keep a little bit of ball speed up, and which typically with shafts of this nature that are built for fast tempo players and all that, you kind of lose a lot of that. You typically find that more in a little more active shafts, a little higher launching, a little more spinning shafts, and this one doesn't. So the midsection, the stiff tip, the stiff butt. I guess the profile of this is kind of stiff, and then really stiff in the middle. But like I said, the stiff handle section and all that, I found it to be, like I said, very accurate and pretty easy to hit. If you're a fast tempo player looking for something a little lower launching, lower spinning, I think the Gen 4 is definitely worth looking at. Like I said, for me, I didn't get the low launch, low spin out of it. It was more mid-low launch and low spin. But that's not a bad. That's actually probably better because I don't hit it super high. So this going with that is probably a little better than if it was truly low launch, low spin. And then they also make a counterbalance red version that launches higher, but the black version here is really solid. I think definitely, I said, an improvement over previous Hazardous stuff, or the previous original Hazardous Black. I think it's got some improvements over that in terms of feel and in terms of even consistency. So if you were a Hazardous Black player looking to maybe try something different and maybe add a little bit of feel, the Hazardous Black Gen 4 is definitely worth taking a look at. So I know this is the one that came out of my Titleist. I was told from those guys it is the exact same shaft that the boys at Project X are providing as well. So if you get one of these, I've been told it's the same thing. So definitely worth taking a look at. But kind of one of the first Hazardous shafts that I've hit really a lot in a few years, so it was nice doing that. So hopefully I'll be able to hit some more. But if you go to TrueTemperSports.com, that'll get you to where the Project X stuff is. But the Hazardous Black Gen 4, you can check out all the specs there. This one is a 6.5 62 gram 6.5 flex, so extra stiff, 60 gram, and it comes in at actually they say 60 grams, so 60 gram weight on it. And then, if you move into the Black 70, you're getting to like 67, 68 grams, depending on the flex. So the TX version of this, which they do make, comes in at like 65 grams. So you're able to hit kind of a bunch of different weights depending on what you're really looking for. But for me, the 60 gram here, 6.5 was pretty good. And, in terms of, I know people are always like, what's your swing speed, all that. I've kind of lowered back down. I'm kind of a 102, 104 guy now. Where I used to be kind of that 106-ish, I'm kind of pulled back, and I'm getting slower as I get older and chubbier. So I don't know if I got to get younger or get slimmer or both, but either way, I'm starting to slow down a little bit. But my tendency to hit it left and snap hook it was kind of why the 6.5 kind of fit the best. But the Hazardous Gen 4, even this thing here at 6.5, 60 grams, 3.3 degrees of torque. So it's... like I said, the specs on it are pretty good, but it definitely has a much better feel than the previous Hazardous lines. So, like I said, TrueTemperSports.com, check out the Hazardous, and all the True Temper and Project X stuff is on there, but the new Hazardous Black Gen 4, I've been pretty happy with it. So I've, like I said, been rocking a lot of other brands lately, but had this laying around that I've been hitting more and more. So I've been hitting my TSR2, but the tip's coming off this pretty soon, and it will have an all-fit tip where I can put it in just about anything. So that'll be happening here maybe today. Probably not, because I'm going to play golf. So not today, but maybe over the weekend I'll do that. So I think that's all I've got today. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram at Club Junkie Pod, that's probably the best way. If you have questions, if you have comments, anything like that, probably the best way is to hit me up there. I think I'm going to try to do my Q&A today, even though I don't typically do it on Thursdays, but I forgot yesterday. Just was busy doing other stuff and and all that. So I will try to do it today. And hopefully you guys have a great rest of the week. Get through these 2 days. Get to the weekend. Hopefully you got some golf on the books. I don't know. We'll see if I get to get out there and golf or not. But anyway, have a good one. We'll talk to you next week. See ya.